top 8. We've got one game to figure it out. Tyloo not quite done yet, putting up a massive game. T5 as well. We are right neck and neck to figure out who's going to be going on to that grand final and who's going to have to go down to the lower bracket.
Yeah, and Tyloo, what a game. We said they needed to have something big there, and they were able to sweep. They didn't win, obviously. They're top 5 with an absolutely incredible kind of counterplay and adjustment there. I don't know how they managed to make it work. They did, but Tyloo got so many kills. I think it was 11 or 12, something ridiculous.
Just the moment that T5 realized the moment to go was just so good. I'd have to go back and watch how the smokes go down because I thought that I saw one of the Sonics members throw one down there. It might have been
which isn't a bad play, right? But as we look,
they were playing so passive before that,
and they kind of had to, right? Tyloo was looking at them. Obviously, Sonics was in threat of pouring over and doing damage, but I'm not sure if that was their smoke. Which again, if you're on top and you need to kind of dictate whether or not a team comes out, throwing a smoke at the entrance is fine. You know, it wasn't a misplay, but man, they found the window, they came through, and they're able to win. But this is it, Matt. This is for everything. Top 8. And there are so many teams, as our amazing Des said, on the cusp of just punching their ticket to the grand finals.
Coffee's going to have to come over here and help me do some of that math. He was talking about how much it's going to be, like how hard it's going to be to track all, but he's not wrong, dude. There is so much to be going down right now. There's so many different moving parts, specifically given how the fact that we've seen these teams, whenever the crunch time hits, they're starting to find their rationales, their ways, the paths to victory. Tyloo's going to shift over and whoa.
Ooh, West Coast Circle. Okay. A very West Coast Circle. It's been a minute since we've seen one of these as well. I used to love playing these specifically, like kind of towards that compound with the barn. It has kind of the double balcony building where there's like a really nice dip.
It's got the hillside right back behind it.
It's been a nice hillside. Yeah, it's been a long time since we actually shifted there. Now this one could kind of, you know, just even up on chopsticks and be really boring. But I do hope that we actually do go much further west coast.
We got Swamp, we've got Quarry that could be played in here. Primorsk still potential.
Last time we saw a circle end in Swamp.
Dude, it has been actually a hot minute.
That's what I'm saying, man. The circles we've gotten though this event have been so difficult to play, yet so fun to watch.
I'm glad that you're finally with me on this bandwagon. You tried to resist it for so long. You wanted to be like, oh, I used to be a player. I'm going to keep the mindset of it. No, come down this.
Because I know what it's like playing these, and it sucks, dude. But yeah, especially watching the way that these teams are adapting inside these circles, right, and making these plays such as, you know, T5 or Tyloo or any of these teams that have just kind of made these amazing runs. It's truly impressive. And again, from the time of when I was playing to the time now, I mean, it's a completely different meta. The level of these players is far beyond whatever we were at when I was a pro.
And it's just so, like, it feels just one technical mistake is all it seems to take just to absolutely ruin your day. Yeah. I mean, look at LG inside that last game.
Days.
They had the right idea in saying, oh, hey, look, somebody's getting caught out here. There's a potential bridge camp. Let's see if we can get something out of it. The problem with it was Cerberus.
Yeah, it's very difficult to see that. And also, a huge shout out to the Falcons and their amazing fan base coming out here in full force. Our crowd just cheering, stomping on that stage, just showing all the hype for this amazing tournament so far that we've had. But I mean,
also a big shout out to Falcons in general, picking up a squad, wanting to make sure to show their support for like PUBG in general. Their HQ is just right down the street from us. So if you're wondering why there's so many Falcons people here, they don't have to go too far to enjoy the show.
And Falcons find themselves in 6th place. I mean, they are very, very much within the realm of possibility of continuing to maintain that and stay within the grand finals qualifying top 8.
They're rocking that quiet consistency.
They
right
are,
now, right?
yes.
They're not popping off. They're not going crazy. They're just like, no, we're playing the numbers. We're playing for safety. We're taking what we need to take.
Finding points
right?
where we need to, salvaging what they can. And they've been making it to a lot of the end games for the most part, right? They've been making it into phase 5, phase 6, getting some kills here. Yeah, they're getting kind of pinched and taken out, but they're still, as you said, quietly, consistently getting those points and staying in the top 8.
In a world where we're having so much chaos and circles and firefights and Cerberus and the Expendables running around.
You do have to mention that.
You do have to. They're doing a good job on finding consistency, which is what a lot of teams are really struggling with right now.
That team is literally chaos incarnate, and they are controlling that chaos. Yeah, Cerberus is just, I freaking love watching that team. But speaking of a team that we need to watch, 17 is very much kind of not necessarily that safe.
You want to know one of the reasons I love Cerberus? Because whenever I see them doing something on the map, I'm like, what would be the most fun thing for Cerberus to do here? And that's always what they do.
And they do it. Well,
every
I mean,
time.
again, the confidence, Toby had mentioned it when we were casting, the confidence to be able to go from a 1-3 to a 2-2 to a 3-1, the ability to split, fight multiple teams at the same time at different angles. I mean, they, for me, have been the best team in the tournament, even though they're not in first place right now.
They have definitely been the X factor for almost every single game moving through this, which is, it comes at a cost sometimes, right?
It does, but they have not felt that.
No. The cost is fine, right? You know, it's taxation, inflation, it all kind of sucks right now. And they're like, whatever.
More than able to afford that cost, let me tell you, 3 times over. And being this comfortable, again, it does make me worry for all the other teams as they have been so consistent. Another team that's found consistency today, as we were just looking at, was Question Mark.
Yeah. This is a team that has been talking about, yes, we know that they're strong, but they're wanting to get a lot more respect on the international stage. And I think that they're definitely accomplishing that. I mean, it's very hard whenever you're surrounded by like Na'Vi and FaZe to be a squad that internationally you can just be like, look at us, we're awesome too. But they are definitely making that statement, and they deserve it. They're
especially
so
with the
strong.
start that they had yesterday. Yeah, they absolutely, again, the adjustments that they've been able to make, both in taking their time a little bit more on the edge on the macro side of things as far as the rotations, but just winning those team fights has been amazing to watch. And even Ty Lue making those adjustments now.
Through most of our teams are already kind of getting in here. You can see it's going to be Na'Vi down to the south. They're going to have Sonics that are just to the north of them while this is happening. We do have a Ty Lue split across Everest as well as Hospital to the north that Dano is going to be kind of encroaching in on. T5, who plays North George, is probably going to be crossing that bridge that's just going to be the west, and they could be coming along a similar path. Falcon's going to be back behind them. That's kind of our moving factors. Outside that, we have FaZe, Cerberus, Jin G, LG, and D plus Kiva that are all going to be on the move. And look, see, the circle is so far away that Cerberus doesn't get to really mix it up in this one. They have to chase down the circle for the first time, and everybody else gets a quiet circle.
For the time being, but once the boys make it into the circle, it becomes pretty much their show, as we are seeing a lot of these teams, as we talked about, the rotations coming in. The north side is going to be fairly quiet, as we will see T5 and Falcons coming in. They're probably going to maybe stop at Everest, get some sight lines, but Danawa as well, just kind of sending it quietly down the west coast, avoiding the sight lines of Ty Lue.
See, what's the most fun thing for Cerberus to do right now? It would be to send it down to, I guess, the hillside that's just north of Ferry Pier.
Towards God Compound even, and that hillside maybe where 17 is,
And just kind of do whatever. You can see.
Oh, come on, Na'Vi.
Oh, that's kind of bad. Gonna see if they can get them shots, survive off of it. Yep, okay, Qrexy. The aim does what the driving couldn't.
Yeah, but now it looks like Na'Vi could just get stopped on by FaZe. Again, FaZe is more than comfortable. They can pretty much do whatever they want at this point. So if they want to take the fight to Na'Vi, they're more than welcome to, is even if they go out, I mean, they're still going to qualify. So we'll see if they want to stop. Na'Vi, on the other hand, though, needs to have a absolutely massive game here, and they need to, more importantly, again, keep 4 alive. They cannot lose someone early here.
And don't be too concerned. Again, we've talked about this before, that Na'Vi can be a bit of a slow roll team at times, is that they like to get the feel for stuff. They're willing to sacrifice like a game here or there just to kind of get a vibe on what's going on and different things, because they know that at the end of the day that they're going to be making it into the grand finals. It can be risky and nerve-wracking for the fans sometimes, though.
But they've been giving up a lot of games here. Yes, they are, as you stated, they will be able to go to the lower bracket regardless of whether they qualify or not, but I mean, they definitely would love to just go straight to the grand finals.
What's the most fun thing for Cerberus to do? Oh, it's obviously to go down to Ferry Pier, where they heard shots going on between Na'Vi and FaZe to see if they can get involved in what's going on over here.
Why not?
Hey, gonna go ahead and take some shots. And yep, see, Duckmai was like, did somebody just shoot at us? How dare them? Nades on both sides of it gonna be coming out. Duckmai, James just playing this one really, really low. He's got to be careful. Haisaki on one side and Duckmai on the other.
Yeah, FaZe kind of hot, though. I mean, if you're going to pick a fight with the team, FaZe have definitely been kind of punching quite well today as far as these team fights are going, and obviously shows being in second place with 101 points.
Oh, James going to go down. Haisaki spots him out. And I was going to say that was a lot of utility that James did have to burn out. I think that who's out of general everything. Nate is going to connect. Is it going to be enough to flush them out? The rest of FaZe is just like, too risky. Let's just go ahead and step away.
I still love this from Cerberus, though. You know, they're not slowing down. And why not? Why not take this opportunity in a situation where they know they're guaranteed grand finals? to continue fighting and continue practicing pushing the pace. This is so smart from them.
A big part of Cerberus's strategy is the fear, right? That everybody in this lobby knows if you end up going against Cerberus, they're going to stop, they're going to fight you, and if anything, don't relent right now.
I mean,
you've got the points, enforce it. Make sure that every single person knows if you even take a shot at us while we're rotating, we're going to crash you. We're going to scare you.
If you get knocked by them or if you knock one of them, you know you're in for a hell of a dog of a fight with that team.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it could. I mean, there are times where that maybe come into play as far as the mental, especially if you're one of the teams struggling on the bottom. You're like, oh, well, crap, now we got to fight Cerberus.
And it just kind of brings them down to the mud, right? If everybody else is trying to be clean and have these nice, cool rotations
everywhere,
everywhere,
I wanted it to do. It goes west.
We still got a lot of water in play, so our teams that are playing down to the south going to have some chaos that they're going to have to be looking forward to. It's going to be Sonic 17 as well as D+ Kia. LG is going to be coming in back behind this phase. It's going to try to regroup because remember, Gustav is playing the lower section of Remorsk. Cerberus is going to be coming in right back behind Navi and Path into this one. Petrichor Road's going to be coming up more in that northern area. We might see them maybe bumping heads with Tai Lu as this moves out.
And yeah, it's actually going to be question marks, the one getting that position we were talking about with the barn and the double balcony building. So they're going to be huge benefactors of this as they split across the road. But look at this swamp, man. When did you think you'd see that here at the international stage?
Jinji just jumping straight into the swamp, coming in from military base, making sure to use the pickup, and they land pretty clean from it. I mean, if you are going to jump into the circle, this feels like a pretty good one, but the problem with it is Daytrade's going to be running in right back behind this one. Boochus is going to be left in behind what's going to be going on with 17 Gaming, catches some air, jumps out, and lands it.
Was that a 360 midair, and he finds it. And this is going to be a nice position here in this dip, just on that dirt road. This is actually a very old school position to play from, as Genji is going to find a member of the Expendables in town, Vu.
My brain broke.
I
it just shut down for just a second. Expendables, though, you can see now getting harassed from Jinji. Jinji, center position, strong point to be played from, just a good read into the circle, and just another phenomenal emergency pickup use.
I will say, though, this position, even that Genji has now early, even though there are 4-up, is very hard to hold. When you are playing in Swamp, especially in a lobby like this, there's so many different angles of approach that teams can have that it's hard to hold, especially from those yellows that Genji finds themselves in right now.
Got a turtle race going on over there to see who can get to Duck Juice first, and it looks like Delwyn might be the only one that has a chance of it, as we are going to see Tan Fu go ahead and bleed out. Molotov going to land. Delwyn, yep, you're just safe there for now, but that's going to be the end of it. It is going to be T5 not finding themselves emergency pickup, running right into Tai Lu. Remember, Tai Lu's needing to have as many good games in a row as they can. They're sitting on that 8th place position. 755 just trying to hold it together for his squad. Doesn't have good angles that he can peek out from. Just going for flushes if he can. Goes for the spray, peeks back around. He's going to go down, and now it is a 1v2.
And again, as you said, Tai Lu cannot go down early because they're in 6th. They're not necessarily safe. A lot of the teams on the bottom could have massive games to overtake them, but they will survive, and at least with 2, and it's going to be Logs and Shen. If you want 2 players alive, why not the 2 that saved them in one of the craziest games we saw in the group stages?
Man, that is so nerve-wracking for Tai Lu, just sitting right in that cusp spot. They know that they need to get Shen back up, and they've got to be careful. A couple of long-range shots are going to be coming after them, but at least it looks like they do have the angle to work around. But
Danawa.
I like it. Just a fadeaway. Drop it, turn around and look, make sure nobody's coming after you.
But look at the leaderboard, Matt. Even at 63 points in 6, Falcons can pass them. Question Mark can pass them. 17 can pass them. All of a sudden, they're in 6th place. They might find themselves in 9th. So those 2 members have to do everything they can to survive.
Yeah, I mean, from Tai Lu down to Jinji, 1 squad wipe, essentially, right, is all we're really looking
so
at.
Close,
that is absolutely insane. FaZe now trying to still continue their pathing to get in this one. Get some distance from Cerberus, who they've been butting heads against for so long, but now heading right across from the swamp. They're going to have Navi that's going to be in front of them, and question mark. This is...
And it's... The circle's not even guaranteed to center on land, so yeah, there's still so much water in this one, and that cuts out a massive amount of playable space in the circle, Matt.
QM wanting to hold on to it. It's going to be Kurexi that goes down now, just the remnants of FaZe just trying to limp in off of it. They do get themselves a compound, and an LMO, as you would call it.
Yeah, somewhat of an Alamo for them to hold right now as QM is surrounded FaZe, and this is just points for the team to kind of use to catapult themselves a little further up in the leaderboard. Sitting at 7th, they are not comfortable yet at all.
And this is pretty contained with the way that the hills are kind of lined in. Na'Vi is a bit more focused on what's going to be coming in to the south of them, most notably Cerberus and all the other teams that are going to be crossing along that road. We've got a whole bunch of different pop-off fights that are starting to brew right now. Sonic's most notably looking in against 17, as this is going to be right along that edge of the zone. They're going to have Day Trade that's going to be back behind them. Up to the north, we're going to have LG as well as Falcons trying to make their approach, while Petrichor Road is just going to be pathing right by everything.
Yeah, Cerberus now starting to rotate in. They're actually crashing right into the position of FaZe, a full 4, as question marks should be able to realize this, and here they come. A knock coming up from who, actually? Hibas is going to find Gustav.
Just jumping out. Duckmai's got his goals in front of him. Effects going to be trying to survive, but FaZe Clan going to get eliminated. They're still feeling fine, though. It's more about just the Cerberus continuing to just nom on every single thing around him. Down to just 3 players for 3 heads, right?
Yeah, 3 players. Ooh, that's actually very nice, Matt, but they will find themselves alive. At least for the other teams, they are down 1 member, so it is somewhat of a break, as D+ Kia actually is going to be emergency pickuping right into the area above Cerberus.
You know what Cerberus reminds me of? You know that meme where it's like, oh, you made this, I made this, or this is the mine meme? Either one of those. It's just like they just take whatever they want from anybody. And here comes LG. Tai Lu trying to defend. Remember, they're down to just 2. Rella's going to go down. It's going to be the shots coming out from Silzen and Falcons, who's got some range into this one. Flood's trying to stay back and defend up. Shin and the rest of the crew, just him and Longs, trying to cling to life here inside the shack. Rello just not even an easy path, because LG doesn't even want to venture into this just quite yet. Not even going into the building itself too much, as you can kind of see why.
Yeah, and those yellows, I mean, are notoriously difficult to push, especially because the angles are just not favorable for the team coming in. Now, utility could be absolutely devastating if LG can land it inside that building on the side of Tai Lu, and they're very much aware of that, so they need to spread out. Yeah,
I love this from Capitan.
Oh, man. This is such a crazy game. They are also going to be able to get real up. I like that they're even just going for it, because at this point, why not just try to keep 4 alive? Just go for broke.
And you should start to realize, if you're LG, hey, you know, there's not a lot of people really messing with us in this. This might not be a full stack of defense coming out, which might open them up to be a bit more aggressive. But Falcons, unrelenting. They're going to come in. They're going to provide the support for Tai Lu in an awkward situation. Yeah, here we go. Luminosity says this is getting to be too awkward off this point. We're just going to have to start brute forcing with our numbers. Be careful. You should know where the defensive lines are going to come. Where is this circle going to land? I'm guessing it has to go down into that southeastern area. Just due east, at least, is going to be the way that it pops, is we're going to have a lot of field and a touch of water to work with.
And I'm just glued to this fight. This has huge implications both for Falcons as well as Tai Lu. LG, I mean, yeah, if they can clean this up and
then kill another squad, and then kill another squad, yeah.
But I am very curious how Falcons are going to kind of approach this, as they're just getting more points and starting to build that cushion that they desperately need to get out of this cusp spot.
It feels like everybody's having problems around this point, except for Falcons. Keep in mind, Petrichor Road set up a 2-1-1 split. Crossfires galore, and that's one of the reasons why LG is having so many of the problems. Falcons just right up in their face with throwables, with the guns, and then meanwhile, they're just trying to get in and get rid of Tyler, and they can't. Petrichor Road, everybody right now is even taking shots. What else we got? We got Danawa at range shooting into this, probably a good, 400 meters away, just taking some shots.
340. I mean, they've been sitting on the West Coast, as we saw them rotate much earlier from South George, so they've pretty much been taking pot shots with a lot of the teams coming in towards this fight that we see with Falcons and Tai Lu as well as LG, and they're very comfortable right now, especially with that shift. Wait, what? Another drop from D+ Kia. They're getting shredded in the air.
I guess there wasn't a lot of good options for their rotate, so they just take off into the air. They're going to be right over here next to question mark. Not going to be too comfy with it. Sonics, though, also going to continue this harassment that they've got to deal with Na'Vi. Uba being the gatekeeper and lining up against the rest. Na'Vi playing on the opposing side of this hill. But Example coming up right back behind them. There is no safety to be had here. Sonics, your time in this world is gone.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they're going to finish they might still finish in first place. More importantly, Na'Vi really need to get, they need way more kills. They need to keep snowballing this forward if they want any hope of actually qualifying.
And this is where D+ Kia jumped to for safety. The dip is good, especially given the nature of this. Dip is free. The landing into it wasn't necessarily the most free, but Cerberus, who has now been kind of unleashed on the western side, as they now get to kind of walk into everything.
I mean, that drop from D+ Kia, they had a good position there initially on the west coast in that, you know, on those rocks. They do, they go in this dip down, and they find themselves in a much more difficult position, as now Cerberus, as you said, unleashed, starting to come up that hill, and they're going to find another nade on Americano.
Just Molotovs both sides. Yeah, you're going to commit in the res. And see, this is one of those things that you're almost expecting a more passive style in play. You don't know it's Cerberus. Sure, I'm inside this dip. I'm going to commit in the res. Some throwables are going to come out. Question mark, though, also reads this. They leave their compound. They're stretching their legs just a bit more, wanting to make sure that they can qualify. Now, presently sitting in that 8th place position, just 1 point back behind Tyloo. They want to try to make something happen over. Cerberus is going to have one of their members go down in Hamas. It's going to be Phil first that finds it. Now they're going to step away, and it's almost like, oh, wait, that was Cerberus. Let them just keep doing Cerberus, man.
Yeah, they also know that there's another team in that dip, and I still feel like this is way too many movements from D plus Kia as they're just so close, and now Danawa wants a piece of this as well. And don't forget, question mark is the cusp team in 8th place.
Isaki just running into the smokes. I'm going to chase you out into where the rest of my team can at least see you, as it is going to be some shots coming out from Danawa to go make a takedown Deva, and you can see 17 Gaming. What do you do down here? It's going to be Na'Vi that goes out, but Daytrade just going to be on the opposing side of it, and yeah, this is no safety.
About to explode. Yeah. Shawu, oh my goodness, and at 1 HP left, he somehow survives, but now all of Daytrade is laser focused in on his position, and his cover's gone, and that is it. 17 is out of there.
Now Daytrade has to figure out their path. They've got Jin G in front of them. They have the potentials of what could be also the expendables, depending on the pathing. Petrichor Road, though, has done a good job of navigating into the circle. They've got that 2-1-1 split. They've been enforcing a lot of what's going on in the circle, and while, yes, they are presently in 12th, they could have a pop-off game here if they can get enough kills.
Again, the implications of every single movement from these teams in this circle is just huge, as we still have such a tight race. 8th place, question mark, 62. 7th place, Tyloo with 2 up, 63. Falcons, 64. And then underneath them, you have the Expendables at 59, Genji at 58, Petrichor even at 47. A big possibility here, as long as they can get the kills, they are very much within the qualifying range.
I can see Flood still just trying to cling to life, as it's going to be the Tyloo members walking out. He did hear the footsteps. He is going to spawn. Longs didn't see him. Flood jumps up, gets his spray into one, but it is going to be Shin that follows it up. Tyloo still just trying to cling to as much as they can get. Now he's got to leave him behind, but those shots now means that Falcons and Petrichor Road both know there is going to be somebody walking out.
He's going to need to make it off that hill as we finally see Cerberus go down. They've done a ridiculous amount of damage on the field. They've taken out multiple teams, and now it's going to be question mark that needs to move forward. But that forward position from Iononic so strong.
There is so much field in this as well. So you can see a lot of teams just having to navigate where they just don't want to have anything to do with what's going to be going on them. But there, Danawa trying to play in the dip and the crest right along this, so that way they can get some form of safety to work with as they're going to be moving forward. They've got Salute moving in from that western front, and they still have Iononics keeping an eye on what's going on with question mark. This is a very big fight brewing for whoever could qualify.
And just looking at the circle, man, what's available to play, there's a massive ridge in the circle that does lead into those fields. We see Danawa being the benefactors of that, but there's a lot of open space here as well.
Yeah, Jin G is still just trying to hold out what's going to be going on with Belmont, trying to get in. Nades coming out, multiple members of Danawa now starting to get into a more definitive position, realizing, okay, we've got to make sure that we contain this. They left Salute back behind, kind of keep an eye on what's going on with the Falcons, making sure that nobody wraps in back behind them, but question mark, they need to brute force their way through this. Meanwhile, Danawa, they're sitting in a much better position right now, but it's just going to be very, very nerve-wracking. They want to make sure that they pick up as many points here as they can. Question marks, though, they lose this, they are going to be in a world of hurt.
They do, however, have a little bit of time here to work with. So because Circle just posted, they have about a minute to figure out how they want to approach this, maybe even get a knock on the side of Danawa. On the flip side of things, Danawa knows that they have a very good ridge to play on the west side, but look at this, Falcons now coming in to exacerbate the issues that Danawa faces.
And this is forcing the other members for Danawa back. Look, they've hopped in their vehicles. They realize the fact that they need to try to make sure that they secure this. This has opened up the door for question mark. Now Falcons having to contend with this, realizing what's going on. Capitan already down.
An unbelievable Falcons now fighting, and that's it. Danawa will be out, and that will be huge. But look, as you said, question mark now with the ability to come forward and play on that ridge right underneath the fields.
Falcons playing for both question mark and Falcons' dreams of making sure that they manage to make it into the grand finals off of that play.
That was such a good window of opportunity to strike on, as we now see the team of Petrichor finding themselves a fantastic position here in the north. Another team, 51 points right on the cusp, 4 still alive. This could be a massive game for the Chinese team.
Expendables and now trying to make sure that they can get some more kills out of it. Gen G right back behind question mark right every single time. Ty Lue presently sitting at 65 points. It looks like somebody could jump them at any given second. Gen G stepping away from this line. They know the fact of what's right below them. They're trying to defend in, but the Expendables coming in from so many different angles. It's going to be question mark also getting some shots into the Falcons in its own fight that's now starting to develop over in the west as Falcons are going to need to be making their way into the zone.
The Expendables stuck on the bottom of this wizard tower, and this is not a great position as they're just trying to find some form of cover from all the utility that's coming out from Gen G. And mollies as well as nades. Smokes would even be pretty detrimental as EJ is on the other side of that. But look, Petrichor Road could be huge benefactors of this.
You needed this as much as you could, Petrichor Road. You're suffering from success. You got the good compound. You got the vision. It made everybody fight away from you, and you didn't get the kills that you need. You've got to come alive right now if you want a chance.
They still very much need the kills. I mean, on the backside of where Petrichor's current position is, he could have a very big backstab on them, as that nade should knock DG, and it does. Ixleft will find one.
Is it going to be enough time? They've shifted down. Gen G's backs up against the wall right now. Emmy kind of creeping in back behind them as well. They've got to be cautious. Question mark, though, feeling better and better by the moment with Petrichor Road now having to move out of this position, moving and hunting down these kills. It's opening up more opportunities for question marks to get good firing lines and what's going to be happening next.
The important thing as well for Falcons and Emmy is he's potentially buying them one more placement, which would be huge in making sure that their cushion is going to be enough. But again, as you said, Petrichor pretty much needs to sweep the rest of the circle and win the game if they want any chance of qualifying.
Slowly, everything is starting to come out. Summer has to keep an eye on Emmy back behind him. Let's not forget Falcons. This is everybody in the thick of it, fighting to qualify right now inside this game. Petrichor, the odd team out inside of it if you're looking at it, but question mark, realizing the fact that they've got their opportunities to qualify, it is going to be neck and neck.
Well, don't forget about Gen G. They're just on the cusp as well, and they are still alive. At least a couple members there. I believe they're still a 3-man, so very winnable, but this is what I was talking about, the backstab from Emmy, and that's going to be devastating to the control that Petrichor had on the circle.
Every point you can get is just another chance at livelihood in the grand finals. Being in that top 8, question mark, heard that firefight. Now creeping in a doozy, slowly and steadily into Emmy's sight lines. Emmy just wanting to try to move into the circle, but you can see near on no cover to had. A doozy is already ready. Nade's going to go out, hit him for about half of his life. He's going to drop down, but question mark doesn't want to commit in. Meanwhile, Petrichor Road still has to deal with this mess of Gen G down to the south, and Gen G doesn't even have a path into the circle that they can work with.
I really like the option to maybe wrap. You see DG98 simply going for the south side, looking for any form of road to play or any form of hay bales. The problem is question mark is right there on the west, and they now have the majority of control of the circle.
They move down into the hay bales. They've got that small ridge that they can play. The fields themselves belong to question mark, but they're going to have to contend against Taman. They're going to have to contend against DG, and if a firefight breaks out, Emmy could pop up at any given moment. EJ's the kind of odd man out as Petrichor Road does have their vision focused on him, but he's been the sacrificial lamb to allow the other players for Gen G to get away.
Yeah, but he still needs to make some form of a play, right? Gen G is not necessarily out of it yet, and they still very much would like some points here as Petrichor also, again, they really need to step on the gas here and look for this, but they've been somewhat passive, especially after losing a member from behind, but the trade will be there. Ixleft will find EJ.
Just trying to pick it up, and with those shots, the information fed over. Look, that Gen G has now navigated themselves down into the fields. Ixleft has to contend with Emmy's position, but the moment he started taking some shots, I mean, instead of Doozy realizes where he's going to be at. The dominoes are falling. Everybody is just trying to cling to life. Question mark cannot step into the sight line. Another nade gets so close to taking out Emmy, but he's still somehow clings and just dives in. He knows that he has got to get away from them, and it's going to be just shifting down into Petrichor's positioning, but that kill could be massive for them.
Yeah, Mill gets that kill. They will get the point, and they will have the opportunity here to recover just a bit. And as we said, Gen G actually does completely shift down to the south with EJ being that sacrificial lamb you had mentioned earlier, and so it's still going to be hard, question mark, with so much control of this circle, and they have an entire field to play with, which is Gen G prone down, praying that they get some sort of a reprieve with Petrichor fighting question mark early.
Question mark, though, really isn't inside the circle. And while they do have some defended positions that they can play from, that's why it's gotten so quiet. It's so open. It's so scary. Yeah, Petrichor, yeah, they can path back up in this area that Emmy was at, but Phil First is just waiting patiently for the moment that to happen. And you can see Petrichor, they didn't find the kills that they need. No. And even if they pick up the remaining kills, I don't think that that's going to be enough at this stage, given the fact that Gen G and Question Mark are still here.
They need to, I feel like they would need to kill everybody on the field in order to even have a chance of qualifying, in obviously getting the win as well. But any point that Question Mark takes right now is going to be a point taken away from Petrichor, and the opportunity or the window will be closing if they want to actually make it to the grand finals without going through the lower bracket. And Dante will find DG98 again. That's another point off the board for Petrichor.
Just keeping it cleaner by the second. QM realizing this is their game. Phil First going to go ahead and start recessing back away from this defended line. Instead, just feed the information over to his teammates. They've got this raised hillside that they can play from, and they're trying to make sure that they exploit Left. Looking back in, Vestalok is going to make sure to go ahead and get the flush out onto DG, pick up that point. Taman now ball by himself down to the south, but Petrichor Road prodding, seeing if they can find any way to crest into this field, because look, where the hell do you go if you're Petrichor Road?
There's really not that many spots. They're pretty much just stuck on that ridge. I'm still very curious how many points Gen G was actually able to accumulate, especially with these placements, if it was enough, as they were just on that cusp.
Ooh, that's big. Mill getting down Phil First means the fact that they have the opportunity to maybe find a pathing into the north of it. A doozy. Dante both now shifting down directly into the west means that the north is more open by a long shot.
But wrapping that side, I don't even know if it's feasible now as we go to phase 9, Matt, and in 3 seconds it will start to close. Taman still desperately trying to stay out of sight and out of the fight, and he just wants the third party when the opportunity arises. But he's not even getting it a chance. It's now just down to a straight up 3v3, Matt.
Focus coming in for Question Mark right now. They know that they need to play the game, the best one that they've ever played in their life. They need to secure this victory. They want to go to the grand finals. It is coming up roses for them right now, as it's going to be Vestalok that gets the shots into Left, opens up the door. Mill already down to near on no life, but Vestalok, Dante both also having to step away, get their meds back into a better position. No cover to be had moving into the circle, but keep in mind, Petrichor Road is slowly and steadily creeping closer and closer to the center dot, while QM still have their backs against the blue zone.
QM is the ones that actually need to make the move now. The onus is onto them, and they are putting some damage into Petrichor, but they have this massive ridge to work with, which is causing a lot of issues here for QM.
Oh my God, Left with that couple of shots. It's going to be enough to open up Mill. He's now creeping in off this one. Petrichor Road is finding an opportunity, and they are trying to exploit it. QM steps out. That's going to be one down in a doozy. The backs against the blue. Nowhere to go. Left spots out another, goes for the spray. Dante still clinging to life, but that's going to be enough to take down another. Dante nowhere to go, and Petrichor Road has just taken dominant control of that. That shield's not going to be enough. He does manage to get down Mill, but in the end, it ends up Petrichor Road.
But the question remains, Matt, was it enough? Were they able to get enough kills to actually punch their ticket? We saw them earlier in that fight just at the cusp around like 51 points, so still 10 points behind Falcons. But the problem is Emmy was able to survive for so long and steal a few more points as well as Question Mark. So I don't know. I don't know if that was enough.
I can't do the caster math fast enough to look at it all. I mean, Tai Lu, remember they went out early and they were in that 8th place position. There is so much on the line here. That Petrichor Road, while they had the path to victory inside that last game, I don't know if it's the path to get them into the grand final.
And the Falcons, though, they played so well again. That quiet consistency coming through in the massive save in that last game. I really think Emmy did enough to actually secure their spot into the grand finals.
Just that like kill here or there and out surviving all those other teams, it might have been enough, but man, this is a nail biter for every single one. How did we end up with like all 6 teams that were just right on the cusp position being our last teams, Godspeed?
I don't know, but it is fantastic.